We are now 25 days into U.S. strikes in Iran. Iranian officials say they are not in ceasefire talks with you-know-who. But you-know-who is painting a much different picture of what's going on behind the scenes and what went into the planning of these attacks. Take a look.
Pete, I think you were the first one to speak up, and you said, let's do it, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So we are now having really good discussions. They started last night, a little bit, the night before that, and I think they're very good. Look at the way they attacked unexpectedly all of those countries surrounding them. It was not supposed to be. Nobody was even thinking about it.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, first, now, so the plan seems to be blame Hegseth.
Yeah, right.
Because, like, this was your idea, right, Pete?
Well, that's what he does.
Yeah.
This is so classic Trump. He does not like to take accountability for anything.
Unless it's going well. Then
look
he
at
loves
Kristi
it.
Noem. No, so he's thinking if the oil prices don't go down, that looks bad in the midterms, Pete looks at this as praise. He's toast. If this doesn't go well, this is not good for Pete Hegseth.
Now, you know Pete.
I know Pete. I worked on a show with Pete, and I praised him for his service, and he's a smart guy, and he was a perfect Fox News host.
Is he a perfect Secretary of Defense?
For one, I would say the memes, the cartoons, and the movie memes have got to stop. When you come from a military family, this is not a game. They talk about it with the high fives, Trump in the rally saying, should we keep going? Should we keep going? Yeah. Coming from a military family, it's really, there are people that are dying, that are losing their lives.
Yeah.
Do you think he's qualified to be the Secretary of Defense?
I don't hope for the demise of this country and the people that are in charge right now, so I pray for the best. I am very concerned because the way they are playing this game...
Do you think he's qualified to be the Secretary of Defense?
The way they are playing this game right now is like checkers, when the rest of the world is playing chess.
Bad checkers.
I'm concerned because in the Middle East, we are very good at getting into wars. We are also very bad at getting out of wars. It's like a snake and you cut the head off, the body's still moving.
Qualified to be the Secretary of Defense.
You know what? I'm very concerned.
Do you want me to save you from Sonny?
No. This is what I'll say about cabinets. Presidents usually pick people in these roles that are experts at what they do, that have had similar roles.
Yeah.
Trump picks people that he knows will agree with him and do what he says.
Right. Okay.
You wake up every day working for Trump and you think, am I going to get fired today?
A real expert is
there's a real
kind
chance
of Trump's enemy.
So are you saying that Pete Hegseth is probably not?
I'll go ahead and say Pete Hegseth is not qualified to run the Department of Defense.
But I say this, Sarah, it's like I don't want what's going on to fail because I have people that I love that are serving this country, and there are a lot of families that do. So this is not. I pray they get this right.
Well, and we have to remember
the decisions that have been made are. I'm very, very concerned.
We have to remember the vice president was the deciding vote on this because even some Republicans did not think he was qualified to do this. What I don't think Trump fully understands is that Iran is not the Democrats. It's not Greenland. It's not. This is a hornet's nest he just kicked. And a lot of the reason people didn't go into the Middle East was because they knew that getting out would be hard. You're dealing with a completely different existential thought process with the extremists. I'm not talking about the Iran citizens. I'm talking about the regime in charge. This is a group of people that have an ideology that frames death in battle as an immediate, guaranteed, highly rewarded passage to paradise. That is not a fair fight when you're fighting against people that their own lives they do not value the way many in America would. So I just don't think he knew what he was getting into. Blaming Hegseth is going to backfire on him for this reason. No one wanted Hegseth. No one wanted Hegseth, and they told him that. So you're pretty much doing something Donald Trump hates to do. If he blames Hegseth and Hegseth was wrong, he's accepting that everyone on the other side, the Democrats and everyone, were right. And he doesn't like to admit that.
That's a little unfair to say that they don't value their lives, I think.
I'm talking about the extremists, the regime that is a mindset of a jihadist. That is. Well, they consider that a passage into heaven. That's why when we talk about how could someone send a suicide bomber or their child, it's because they view it differently.
Well, let me say this, because, you know, I think what's very concerning for me is that he says no one knew that that the Iranian government would react in this way. The reason that no president before Trump authorized war with Iran is because they knew that the risks were too high, and they also knew the outcome was uncertain.
Yeah.
They knew that that the Iranian government would shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And not only does 20% of the oil go through that strait, and Iran is able to shut it down. The other part of it is that it's the key waterway for supplies used by farmers and tech firms, okay?
Right.
So what happens is it threatens to also drive up prices for products ranging from groceries to smartphones. And in a worst case scenario, those prices could lead to a recession in this country. And I think it's shocking that he would say no one knew when he's surrounded by Marco Rubio, who should have known, Pete Hegseth, respectfully, who was unqualified for his job, who should have
I'm not
known.
here defending. By the way, I don't think Pete's qualified for the job. That's
Thank
not,
you.
That's not what I'm saying.
Thank you.
That's not at all what I'm saying.
But the bottom line,
But what I'm saying is I love this country. I don't want it to fail.
It's not even any of that. You didn't ask anyone. You didn't
Or he
say
asked
that.
and he didn't
No,
listen.
they all said, don't do this. And I know you like to say that 75 retired.
generals.
I'm sure that they also would have made him aware of why it had not been done
Yes,
before.
I'm
We
sure.
have been in wars that have been impossible to win because we didn't go in knowing what we were doing.
there
And
was
this
no
is
exit.
another.
Yeah.
This is one of them.
another one of those
Well, but
places.
guess how
As you know,
Vietnam
where-
started?
and-
You had boots on the ground. As soon as you put boots on the ground,
You're in trouble.
Think back at every
Yes.
war we have fought in recent
But
history.
because he's not had anything to do with any of them, because he
Yeah.
never fought in any of them,
Yeah.
he doesn't know what it's like.
Yeah.
He has no idea he has no idea that
But you
these
know
are
who has,
human
Whoopi?
beings. But you
Pete
would,
Hegseth has.
Yeah, but,
so he should know better.
clearly well, I'm not going to say that. But clearly, his decision-making process was off because if he knows what goes into war, what it really means to be in the middle of a war, he would not have blithely said, yes, go ahead and do
Or
it.
had he listened to anybody? He said that he spoke to former presidents. The
He
former
didn't speak
president
to
said
anybody.
that he didn't. Any historian knows that past becomes prologue when you don't know the history, especially in the Middle East. And every historian and geopolitician will geopolitical expert will tell you the story of the Middle East.
I
and Iran.
also would like to see success in this country because I'm a patriotic American.
I know you are.
Right.
And I think that what we're going to see is gas prices are going up, oil is going up, groceries are going up.
People are losing their insurance.
The only thing
Yes.
going down are his approval ratings.
Yeah.
So I think that eventually the American people, if he doesn't succeed in totally sabotaging the vote in November, which he's really trying hard to do, that's our next topic, I believe.
I just
Yes,
want
you're right.
I want our men and women home as soon as they possibly can. We need to start de-escalating, not escalating what is
Well,
happening.
we've lost
then
13
then he
already.
needs to stop doing what he's been doing, which is sending out wolf tickets, talking about, oh, we're going to go and do this and do that. And I think maybe somebody got in his ear and said, listen, they're not playing with you. This is not a joke to them.
You know,
This is not, yes.
another thing I noticed
Yeah.
is that the stock market is like going up and down, up and down, and up and down. He said, first you say you do, and then you don't. I mean, he's playing that game. And I wonder if that is deliberate. Because remember, everything is about the stock market with Trump and his money.
Right.
So when he says, well, you know, Iran is cooperating, now the stock market goes up. Now when he says, well, then Iran says, no, they're not. Now it goes down. That's a good time to buy. There's something very suspicious about what's going on.
Well, it's suspicious
that.
and it's damn dangerous to our men and women in the armed services.
correct.
And he needs to stop.
Remember, but Whoopi, in the old days, you used to say, what if they gave a war and nobody came?
Yeah.
We'll see about this.
Well, I think people are just at this place, you know, that you're taking away people's health care, you're taking away their ability to take care of their families, really, because we're spending money in an insane amount. $5 billion, you need $5 billion for this, and you need $20 billion for this,
$200
and you
billion.
you don't seem to be thinking you need $200 billion for this, for us.
He could use that to subsidize the health care.
Well, he could use
what
that.
about paying TSA?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we could pay them, you know, we could stop, you know, there's so much to be done. But why we're doing this and continuing to endanger people, I don't get it. It needs to stop.